True Crime Stories, Frank Abandando. One of murder most prolific killers, Frank the Dasher Abandando got his nickname according to one version on one of his early hits. He pointed his gun at a huge waterfront character and pulled the trigger, but the weapon didn't fire. Abandando then made a mad dash to get away with his intended victim lumbering after him, according to the story. Abandando ran around the building so fast that he actually came up behind the man. This man, he got him. This time, he got him with 3 slugs in the back. Even if the story is a legend, it is master of the fact of during of the 1930s. Abandando did a remarkable job of littering the streets in Brooklyn with corpse. No accurate statistic on his kill were ever kept, but he was known to have been involved with probably 50 or so. When he wasn't knocking off mob victims, the Dasher spent his free time raping young girls in the Brownsville and Ocean Hills section of Brooklyn. In one case, he screwed up with a girl's family by tossing them 25 or otherwise I buy you all tombstone. When finally brought to justice as a result of the testimony of informer Abe and several other gang members who turned into stools, Abandando was probably the most unrepentant of the hired killers in court. At one stage in the Dasher trial, the judge ordered a court officer to stand between himself and Abandando on the witness stand after the defendant threatened to kill him right in his own court. Still, the Dasher lawyers tried to cast him in the best possible light, pointing out he had indeed been a star at the second base for the reformatory team that was in his summons. He pleaded for the Dasher and the fair name of baseball, arguing ball players don't kill people. In all my experience, I cannot think of a single baseball player who ever killed anybody. At least so visually as in this case. The athletic assassination went to the electric chair on February 1942. Burton W. Abbott, 1928 to 1957. The defendant in one of California's most sensational kidnap murder trial, 29-year-old Burton Abbott was the object of an even more sensation execution, which offered grim proof of the fatality of the death sentence. Apologize. On April 28, 1955, a 14-year-old Stephanie Bryans disappeared in Berkeley, California after walking a classmate home. 13 days after the hunt, the girl begins. The police found one of Stephanie's school books in a field outside of town. On the evening of July 15, Georgia Abbott was rummaging in the basement of her home when she found a purse and identification card bearing the name of the missing girl. She rushed upstairs and blurted out news of her find to her husband. Burton and a Daniel gas police were summoned, and a careful search of the premises revealed the numbers of Stephanie's school book. These words, I am hard announcing them, but her brassiere and her glasses. Neither Burton nor Georgia Abbott could explain the presence of the girl's possessions, but Abbott pointed out that his garage had served as a polling place in May, and that anyone the score of people might have used the opportunity to hide the items on his property. While the police remained suspicious, they had no other evidence that links to the girl's disappearance. The Abbotts owned a weekend cabin in the Trinity Mountains, some 300 miles away, and on a hunch, investigators visit the area. Dogs led them to a shallow grave that contained a badly disposed body of Stephanie Bryans. She had been butchered to death, and a pinty tied around her neck. Abbott was arrested and charged with kidnapping and murder. Now, some of the words, it's kind of hard to say, so. While the case against Abbott was circumstantially strong, the prosecutor had difficulty establishing a direct link between the subject and the victim. However, scientific examination showed that hair and fiber found in Abbott's car matched those from the girl's head and clothing. Still, there were enough doubt in this case to cause the jury to deliberate for 7 days before finding Abbott guilty. He was sentenced to die in a gas chamber Instantly on his innocence, Abbott filed appeal after appeal, but each was turned down. He was, however, granted several stays, some only hours before the scheduled execution, to launch yet another appeal. On March 14, 57, Abbott's last appeal failed, and he was taken to the gas chamber in San Quentin. At 11:15 a.m., the tiny gas pellets were exploded beneath Abbott's chair. Just then, the telephone hotline from a government Goodwin Knight's office buzzed. Warden Harry Tweet, hold the execution. A governor is ordered. The warden Tweet explained it was too late. The gas had been released. The Gov Knight had ordered a stay for 1 hour for a reason never officially explained. It didn't matter. At 11:25, Abbott was dead. Since then, the Abbott case was often been cited by force opposing capital punishment, not because of the murders of his claim of innocence, but as stark evidence that once the state takes away a person's life, it cannot restore that life. So, let's go back to Burton Abbott. So they found her body in around her cabin, and they found the hair in his car. So it couldn't. The thing is, it might not been the person. It might not been Burton. I mean, it could have been someone else who drove his car, or maybe framed him. I mean, you really think about it, the car was probably in a garage, Now, about Frank Bandando, he was a very, very bad person. Even though I never knew him, I probably would never know these guys, so, which they're probably, well, they're dead anyway, so. So if you guys like my videos, what I do, my stories, put the thumbs up. All right, love you all. Peace.